All right, today we are going to get into a really fascinating, kind of mind-bending poem from about 400 years ago. It's by Donne, and it basically takes everything we think we know about love and just flips it on its head. The poem's called Negative Love, and its big idea is, well, what if the best kind of love is the one you can't even put into words? Sounds weird, right? Let's get into it.
I mean, really, just think about that for a second. We're always trying to define love, right? We make these lists. I love them because of this, that, and the other thing. But what if Donne is onto something? What if trying to pin it down, to define it, actually shrinks it? What if the real deal, the deepest connection, is something that's supposed to be a mystery?
So to even get to this kind of mysterious love, Donne basically has to tear down all the old ideas. He starts by defining his love, by telling us everything it's not. And he comes out swinging, aiming right for the big one, simple physical attraction.
Okay, now look at the language he uses here. It is so specific. He says he never stooped so low. He's basically saying that a love based only on how someone looks is, well, it's beneath him. And then that last word, pray. Wow, that's not a romantic word, right? It's aggressive. It's predatory. He's saying that just loving an eye, a cheek, a lip, it's not connection. It's more like hunting.
So you can see right out of the gate, he's just totally dismissing superficial love. And he's not gentle about it. He's using this incredibly strong language. For him, this isn't just a matter of taste. No, it's a full-on moral stand. He sees that kind of love as just basic, almost animalistic, a complete rejection of the purely physical.
Okay, so if it's not about the body, what's next? You'd think maybe it's about the mind, right? Loving someone for their intelligence, their wit, their good character. But nope, Donne shoots that down too. He takes his argument one step further. So he says he seldom bothers with people who soar no higher than admiring virtue or the mind. And notice, he does say soar. So he admits, yeah, it's a step up from just pure lust. But for him, it's still not the destination. You have to remember at the time, poets were all about listing their lovers' amazing qualities. And here's Donne saying, yeah, that's nice, but it's not enough. It's still too small.
And this chart really lays it out perfectly. On one side, you've got what we'd call ordinary love. It's based on things you can point to, right? Physical stuff, which he calls sense, or intellectual stuff, understanding. These are the reasons, the fuel for the fire. But Donne's love? It's something else entirely. It lives in this totally different world, a world that's all about embracing what you don't know. And this is where we hit the first big, beautiful paradox of the poem. He flat out admits his love seems silly, like it's irrational, it doesn't make logical sense. Why? Because he doesn't even know what he wants. But then, in the very same line, he says it's more brave. And you have to ask, brave? How? Well, because it takes real guts to love without a neat list of reasons, doesn't it? To just be in that uncertainty and not need to explain it away. So, if it's not the body, and it's not the mind, what's left? What on earth is this love based on? And this is where we get to the absolute heart of the poem. The idea that's going to twist your brain a little. The perfection of nothing. The idea that real value, real love, is found in something you can only describe by saying what it isn't. This right here, this is basically the mission statement for the entire poem. He's making this huge philosophical argument. It actually echoes this old religious idea that the only way to talk about something as infinite as God is to say what God is not. And Donne just takes that massive idea and applies it to love. He's saying the most perfect things in the universe are too big for our words. We can't say what they are, only what they're not. And then he just drops it, my love is so. It's perfect because you can't define it.
So this is it. This is the key. Perfect love, according to Donne, it's that which can only be expressed by negatives. It's not a checklist of things you admire about someone. It's bigger than that. It's an experience that goes way beyond what our language, our logic can handle. Its power comes from that very mystery, from what isn't there. And he doesn't stop there. He doubles down. He looks at all, which all love. Think about that. He's talking about every conventional reason people fall in love. Everything other poets were writing about. And to all of it, he just says, no. It's a blanket rejection of everything, just wiping the slate clean to make room for his own undefined thing.
Oh, and this line is just, it's incredible. Let him teach me that nothing. It's like a prayer, but it's also a challenge. He's asking to be taught about this nothing. He's not looking for answers. He's not looking for definitions. He wants to learn how to live inside the mystery. How cool is that?
But here's the absolute key. This nothing isn't some empty, sad void. Not at all. For the speaker, it's actually a source of ease and comfort. It's peaceful. The poem ends with this beautiful idea that, look, if you don't have a specific target you're aiming for, like perfect beauty or genius-level intelligence, then you can't miss, you can't fail. There's this incredible freedom in just letting go of those expectations. Okay, so I know this all sounds pretty abstract, maybe like Donne was just trying to be difficult, but he wasn't. This idea was actually revolutionary for his time. It was a huge break from what other poets were doing, but it fit perfectly with the big questions people were asking back then.
Yeah, the early 1600s. It was an age that was just obsessed with paradoxes, with figuring out the limits of what we can even know. People were pushing the boundaries of language, of thought. And for poetry, especially love poetry, the tradition was to list all the lover's perfections. You know, her eyes are like stars, her cheeks like roses. Donne comes along and just throws a wrench in the whole thing. He says, nope, real love isn't on that list. It's in the mystery you can't describe.
So, we've walked through all these rejections, all these paradoxes. What are we supposed to take away from all this? What's the big lesson from this deep dive into negative love?
I think the message really is that maybe in our constant need to analyze everything, to understand every little piece of our lives, we're missing something fundamental about love. Donne is suggesting that maybe the truest kind of love exists just beyond our reach, in this place of comfortable mystery, where you just don't need a reason. And that, in itself, is a pretty radical way to think about acceptance.
And that really leaves us with one last big question to chew on, doesn't it? I mean, we live in a world of data, of dating profiles, of pro and con lists for every decision. We want everything explained. So the question this 400-year-old poem is asking us right now is a pretty powerful one. In a world that demands an answer for everything, is there any room left for a love that finds its greatest strength not in the answers, but in the mystery?
All right, let's dive into one of John Donne's most fascinating poems, Lover's Infiniteness. This thing starts with some serious insecurity and ends with a mind-blowing, revolutionary idea about what love even is. So let's get into it and unpack this masterpiece. So let me ask you this, because it's the one single anxious question the entire poem is wrestling with. Can you treat love like something you can buy, something you can possess completely? Or is it something else? Donne's speaker is about to take us on a pretty turbulent journey to figure that out. So we kick things off, and our speaker is, well, he's a mess. He's looking at love not as this amazing feeling, but more like a business deal, a transaction he's trying to get right. And honestly, he's terrified he's made a really, really bad deal. Talk about all or nothing, right? This opening line is just pure, uncut dread. He's setting up this premise that if the love he has right now isn't the total package, then it's never going to be. There's no room for it to grow. For him, it's a contract, and he's convinced the terms are already stacked against him. And you could just feel how exhausted he is. He says, I cannot breathe one other sigh to move, nor can entreat one other tear to fall. He's basically saying, I'm tapped out. I've given everything I possibly can to win you over. He's got no more emotional energy left in the tank. And this is where you really see that transactional mindset. It's like he's pulling out an emotional spreadsheet. He lists out his treasure, his sighs, his tears, his promises, and he talks about how he's spent all of it trying to purchase her love. This isn't just passion. For him, it's an investment, and he's pretty sure he's looking at a terrible return. So, he comes to this really bleak conclusion. He figures that whatever love was due to him was decided right at the beginning, when the bargain was made. If he only got a piece of her heart back then, well, that's all he's ever going to have. He's emotionally bankrupt, stuck with a bad deal for life. But just when you think he's down for the count, he completely flips the script. In this second stanza, he stops being an anxious accountant and turns into a lawyer, making this bold, almost legalistic claim on her love. He starts to play with this new idea. He thinks, or if then thou gavest me all was but all which thou hadst then. He's saying, okay, wait a minute. Maybe I did get all the love you had at that specific moment. But, and this is the key, what if more love has grown since then? And of course, this opens up a whole new can of worms. Now he's worried about the competition, these other men. As you can see, he imagines them with their emotional bank accounts totally full. Their stocks of sighs and tears are untouched. so they can just swoop in and easily outbid him for any new love that's popped up, because he's got nothing left to offer. His solution is audacious, to say the least. He basically claims her heart as his own property. He says, "Your heart is my ground, my land, so whatever grows on that land, well, it belongs to me." It's an incredible power move, shifting the metaphor from business to absolute total ownership. And all of that brings us to the final stanza. And this is the big one. This is where Donne just blows the whole dilemma wide open, abandoning all that flawed logic of bargains and ownership for something way, way more profound. He starts with this huge epiphany. "Yet I would not have all yet," he says. Why? "He that hath all can have no more." He suddenly gets it. A love that's finite, a love that's complete, is also a love that's static. It's finished. There's no future, no growth. And that's a kind of death. This leads him to what he calls love's riddles. And it's this beautiful central paradox. He realizes that you can't just give away pieces of your heart every day. True love works on a whole different level. It's a riddle where, though thy heart depart, it stays at home, and thou with losing savest it. You see? The act of giving your love away doesn't deplete it. It actually confirms it, makes it whole. So, based on this amazing insight, he proposes what he calls a way more liberal, a more generous, more freeing approach. Forget trying to own everything all at once. The new plan is to let love grow every single day. The solution isn't to exchange hearts like property, but to join them together. And here it is, the magnificent conclusion. By joining their hearts, they completely transcend the whole problem of possession. They become a single being. And in that union, they each become everything to the other. All is no longer a quantity you can count or buy. It's a state of being you share. So what we've just witnessed really is the invention of a whole new math for love. The speaker went from desperately counting his emotional pennies to this incredible, transcendent understanding of infinite union. He finally realizes the goal isn't to have love, but to become one with it. But it does leave us with one final thought to chew on. That phrase, "one another's all," is absolutely beautiful. But is it a perfect mutual union? Or is it maybe the most sophisticated, total form of possession you can imagine, where two individuals are just completely absorbed into one? The poem solves one riddle, but maybe it leaves us with an even bigger one.
You know, when you read John Donne's poetry, you're not just reading. You're dropped right into the middle of an emotional firefight. It's always intense, it's always complex, and Twickenham Garden is a perfect example. We're about to watch a mind so completely wrecked by heartbreak that it manages to turn a beautiful, peaceful garden into a personal hell. So let's follow him down, step by painful step.
And the poem just throws you in with this line. Wow, this isn't a gentle start, is it? It's a full-blown storm. The speaker doesn't just walk into the garden, he brings his own weather system with him, and it's a hurricane of sadness. Right away, you know this isn't going to be a walk in the park.
So this really gets to the heart of the whole thing. The poem is a masterclass in how our own minds can poison a perfectly good experience. See, the garden isn't the problem here. It's the person in the garden. We're about to watch this brutal collision between the beauty of the outside world and the absolute torment of his inner world.
All right, here's our roadmap for this emotional nosedive. We're going to see how the paradise gets poisoned, meet the spider love, watch the garden turn into a graveyard, and explore his weird wish to become a weeping stone. Then it all blows up with his tears as love's wine and a final, bitter accusation. It's a journey straight down.
Okay, so the journey begins. Our speaker walks into this gorgeous garden, probably a real place, by the way, the estate of one of Donne's patrons. He's there for a reason. He's hoping the peace and quiet of nature can fix what's broken inside him.
You can almost feel the shred of hope he's clinging to here, can't you? He really believes this place has the cure. He's trying, he's opening his eyes and ears, wanting that healing, but, well, his own mind just isn't going to let that happen.
And boom, there it is, the big twist. He flat out admits the problem is him. He calls himself a self-traitor, which is such a powerful way of saying, I'm my own worst enemy. He knows he's sabotaging any chance at peace. He's the one carrying the venom into this paradise.
So then Donne does this thing he's famous for. He gives this internal poison a shape, and it's a terrifying one. It's not just sadness. He calls it the spider love. This is a classic metaphysical conceit, a really clever, kind of shocking comparison between two things you'd never put together. In this case, love and a poisonous spider.
I mean, just listen to that. What a dark, incredible metaphor. Love isn't a dove or a rose. It's a spider. It doesn't just exist, it actively changes everything it touches, spinning this web of negativity and turning everything sour. And his choice of the word transubstantiates, that's a gutsy move. This is a deeply religious, sacred word, used for the transformation in Holy Communion. Donne basically hijacks it from the church and uses it for this dark, twisted alchemy, where love miraculously turns good things into poison.
And this just lays it out perfectly. He's saying his love takes manna, this miraculous, life-giving food from heaven, and turns it into gall, a bitter poison. The best things in life are being chemically altered into the worst. This isn't just a bad mood. His entire reality has been corrupted.
And hey, just in case the spider wasn't enough, he also brings a serpent. With that, the biblical parallel is complete. He says the garden is a true paradise, but he means it in the most sarcastic way possible. It's a perfect reenactment of the Garden of Eden right after the fall, and guess what? He's the one who brought the snake.
So, now that paradise is totally ruined, the speaker sinks even deeper. He actually starts to resent the beauty around him and wishes for the exact opposite. The beautiful blooming trees of spring now feel like they're personally insulting him. It's like they're laughing at him, mocking his misery. So he wishes for winter, for death and darkness, for something that finally matches the cold, dead feeling he has inside.
And that phrase, grave frost, oh, that's just pure genius. It's not just a deep frost, it's the frost of the grave. That one word, grave, connects all this to death. He's not just bummed out anymore, he's actively being pulled toward a state of non-existence. He's turning this beautiful garden into a mental graveyard.
Okay, so this leads him into this really strange but fascinating fantasy. He's caught in this psychological trap. He wants to escape his feelings, but he absolutely refuses to let go of the love that's causing all the pain. His first wish? He wants to be a mandrake root. Now, in folklore, mandrakes were said to scream when you pulled them up, but he doesn't want that part. He just wants to be a plant, rooted in the ground, completely senseless, unable to feel a thing.
And his second wish is maybe even sadder. He wants to be a stone fountain, just weeping forever. This image is perfect. It captures exactly what he wants. To show all the signs of sorrow on the outside, but to be made of stone on the inside, totally numb, completely free from the feeling of grief itself.
And that's the impossible knot he's tied himself in. It's the ultimate paradox. He wants to stop hurting, but he won't stop loving, even though that's the source of the hurt. He wants to be numb, but he still wants to be a lover. It's a game he just can't win.
Now we get to the final stanza, and everything that's been boiling inside just can't be contained anymore. His private torment explodes outward, and he turns on the rest of the world with this bitter, almost arrogant challenge.
I mean, can you believe the audacity? He's inviting other lovers to come bottle his tears and use them as a test. He's claiming his pain is so pure, so real, that it's love's wine. And he says that if your lover's tears don't taste exactly like his, then their love is fake. His suffering has become the only gold standard for true love.
So you see the shift, right? He's not just fighting with himself in his own head anymore. He's officially on the attack, projecting all his misery onto everyone else and calling their happiness a lie.
And his emotional spiral finally hits rock bottom. It all ends with this focused, sweeping, and, famously controversial accusation.
He lashes out at all women, calling them perverse, but then he pulls this brilliant, incredibly painful wordplay on the word true. He says his lover is the only true one, not because she's faithful to him, but because her truth, the simple, honest fact that she doesn't love him back, is what's killing him. It's a devastatingly clever and bitter twist.
And that's the question we're left with. Is this final outburst just ugly misogyny, or is it the desperate, wild lashing out of a mind so completely shattered by heartbreak that it literally cannot see the world any other way? Donne doesn't give us an easy answer. He just leaves us right there, in that really uncomfortable, really powerful space.